I'm Father Alexei. I'm the Ecumenical and Interreligious Officer for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
And I'm Rabbi Hillel Cohn.
And we're part of the Priest-Rabbi Dialogue in Los Angeles, which is jointly sponsored by the Archdiocese and the Southern California Board of Rabbis. The topic today, my good friend, is what is my mission in life? What is your mission in life?
Well, you know, as I was thinking about that, it's sometimes easier to answer some questions in terms of what is it not rather than what is it.
Right.
And I think of a beautiful passage, one of my favorite passages in Jewish literature, in a book called Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Elders, the Sayings of the Elders. And there, rabbis ask questions, and one of the passages says, who is strong, who is rich, who is wise, and who is honored. And I like to imagine that they had all kinds of people giving them responses, and they finally hit upon an answer for those four questions, saying that the wise person is the one who learns from others. The honored person is the one who knows how to give honor to another. The strong person is one who knows how to control his or her passions or temperament. And the strong person is one who controls his own passions and so on. So what I'd like to think of is that that's not my mission in life, to be rich. The fourth one was who is rich, the one who's content with his or her portion. Not my mission in life to become strong or famous or well-known or rich or even have lots of letters after my names for degree. It's something else, and that is to essentially make a difference in this world of ours. And you and I have had the experiences, have all clergy, all people. You walk through cemeteries, and do you ever see on a tombstone somebody saying, well, I founded this company, or I made billions of dollars or millions of dollars? Rather talks about ways in which they might have made a difference to family and so on. What's your mission? How do you
Well,
arrive
I think
at
it depends on what the focus is. My mission as a priest, my mission as an individual Catholic, my mission as a human being. Certainly I would concur as a human being with everything you just said. Our mission is to make a difference in life. And you can expand that as far as priesthood is concerned, as the rabbinate is concerned. We are there to guide people. I shouldn't say we because I don't want to speak for you. I'm there as a priest to guide people into a relationship with Jesus. And we do that in many faceted ways, as do you. Through the Word, through the Scripture studies, Scripture, immerse people in Scripture, and also to draw people, to nourish them, and not only with the Scripture, but also in our system through the sacraments, to get them, and encourage them to know Jesus, and to have some type of relationship with Him. And then some of us have other responsibilities as well. We can talk about that in a few moments.
Is it a mission in life, let me just ask, as a non-Catholic, is part of your mission to become Jesus-like?
I think we're all called to become icons of Christ, to be
and we would say
Christ in the world today.
Become God-like.
Precisely.
You know.
Precisely.
I think of that also in terms of, some of the things that priests, rabbis, ministers often, probably too often in our lives, are called upon to do, and that is to preside over funerals.
Absolutely.
And to deliver a eulogy. And, what kinds of things are really important in terms of a person having reached some important achievement or accomplishment in their life. That has to do with what their mission in life is. And a number of years ago, I remember reading something about some psychologists who said that after doing some research, that there are certain wishes that all of us have when we think of our own death, something that we don't like to do very often, and our society tries to keep us away from that.
Should do more often, but we don't.
Right. And the three wishes, there were three, but I want to particularly focus on two of them. One is that we would wish that when we die, that those who we love, those close to us in family, those who are involved with us, friendship and neighbors, that they should understand what we lived for, what our values were, what our intentions were, and what we meant by our life lived at its very best. And I see that as, in a sense, the mission in life that I hope for myself and hold out for myself, but I would hope for others, for the people that I'm privileged to teach and lead, the people with whom I interact in a community, to be able to say, my mission in life is not to make a secret of what is important to me, what is of value to me. And the second thing is that we would say, want to hope that when we die, it could be said that this person's life had made a difference, that recognizing how little one individual in one lifetime can mean in the totality of the generations, still holding on to the wish that maybe because of us, the world had become just a slight bit different, a little better place for humanity. Maybe because of us, there had been some lessening of fear and some lessening of violence in the world, and maybe some increment of good in the human struggle for a better life. So my mission in life would be to be able, when I die, to have it said, yeah, he made a difference. And how would you look at it?
Oh, I would certainly, again, whatever the things that you just enumerated so beautifully there, I would resonate with that totally. From a Catholic priest point of view, I would like, or even from a Catholic layman's point of view, I would hope that when I die, someone will be able to say, in him we saw something of Jesus Christ. That the way I attempt to live my life now would inspire others to embrace the teachings and actions and mentality of Jesus Christ.
As we both look at the world in which we live today, I think we have cause to lament that there's all too many whose mission in life is to control others, whose mission in life is to become the leading financial wizard or whatever it is. And when all is said and done, does that really matter?
No.
And I think one of the roles that I would say is mine as a rabbi, and I'm sure I know it's yours as a priest, is to help people define what their mission in life is.
Absolutely.
What really matters in a world where a lot of these things are trivialized, and a lot of things are ignored, to focus on those things that can enable us to really make a difference in the world. It doesn't have to be a huge difference.
Absolutely not.
And it's the greatness of little things often that's important.
Absolutely. St. John of Damascus, in a funeral hymn that he wrote in the 8th century, I believe, talks about walking through a cemetery, as you mentioned earlier. And he says, where's the rich man? Where's the poor man? Where's the king? Where's the beggar? All are equal here, but what have they done to make life better for us?
Jewish mourning customs and funeral customs kind of enforce that.
Yes.
With a very plain casket made of all of wood, and a very simple shroud garment that somebody's buried in, not to make any difference between the rich and the poor.
The equality of the person.
There's another thing that sometimes people point to. While there are people who today indulge in perhaps more decorous kinds of prayer shawls, talits, the idea that you could walk in the back of the synagogue and everyone would be covered with a prayer shawl, and you wouldn't know who's got a Brooks Brothers suit or a Hugo Boss suit under that, and who's got just the clothing of a peasant.
Exactly.
That what really matters is that we all be treated, and more than treated, I think, consider ourselves to be equals to others and not superior to others.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
And of course, my mission in life is also colored by, let's say, another passage that comes out of the rabbinic writings. It comes out of the Talmudic tractate Shabbat. And it says that when you die, there will be certain questions asked of you at the day of judgment. And the questions are, did you conduct your affairs with integrity? Were you an honest person in whatever you needed to do? Did you set aside fixed times for the study of Torah? But I would expand that. Did you set aside fixed times for the study of the whole Torah? In other words, all of sacred literature and its teachings. Did you occupy yourself with raising a family? Did you hope for the redemption of your people, for us, the Jewish people, Israel, and for universal peace? Not just hope for it, but I think implied in that, did you work for it? Did you do something, really concrete to help bring about universal peace? Did you search for wisdom? Did you acquire understanding? So my mission in life would be to fulfill or to be able to answer those questions, hopefully positively. But now, priests, I think, have the interesting question about what about raising a family?
Yeah,
Of course, you have a family that's a...
Depends how you define family,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Yeah. We would consider the parish as an extended family, if you will. Since most priests anyway don't marry, so they don't have the familial responsibilities to the same extent that you do. But I think that we could fulfill that aspect by the way in which we interact and care for our parishioners, and they for us.
And it's interesting that the title that you bear is Father, which
Yes,
is
exactly.
a familial title.
Exactly.
Our title is Rabbi
Teacher.
which is not to say that there can't be a familial relationship too, but it's an interesting kind of use of terminology. The mission in life, really, I find that so many people live their lives without any concern for what is really important.
No, their goal is monetary or
What really matters.
some type of success. We all want to be successful in our work, but that shouldn't be primary. If you're making a difference in people's lives, that's what's primary.
So my mission in life is also to try to teach people by example, not necessarily by word, how to get to that point. And yours?
Example certainly is the far more effective teacher. You can mouth something and not live it, then what are you teaching? What are you teaching? Another aspect of this mission in life, which I think both you and I share, I by virtue of my position in the Archdiocese, and you by your avocation, your participation not only in this dialogue, but in many other dialogues, is the whole interreligious aspect.
Absolutely.
Of trying to bring understanding and acceptance of other religions to our own people.
And that begins with seeking out knowledge about that other religion,
Absolutely.
not closing ourselves off the fact that I don't need to be concerned about what you Catholics do. I do need to be concerned, not just because you're a sizable group in the world, but because you have made a contribution to the world. And I think conversely
As you
the
have,
same thing.
exactly.
So this idea of cultivating better human understanding, and that includes understanding of each other's belief systems, is so important.
Belief system, the worship styles, practices. We did a whole cycle of interactions, the priest-rabbi dialogue on life cycle events. And we learned so much about each other just by looking at those events which impact both of our communities.
Exactly.
Slightly differently sometimes, much the same many other times.
And haven't we found, and I think people will always find this out if they do a little bit of searching, that there are so many commonalities.
Absolutely.
Yes, there are differences, and we ought not gloss over those differences, but we ought to prize the commonalities that are ours and work together.
Exactly.
Which, the priest-rabbi dialogue helps us do.
We certainly try to, exactly. And then some of the wonderful experiences that we've had in that dialogue. I remember the late Rabbi Dubin when he died. One of the greatest privileges afforded me, along with Rabbi Schulweis when he died, was to be asked by his family to be a speaker at their funerals. Now that's I think speaks volumes in itself right there.
Another question that ought to come up is, of course, did you live with reverence for life and for God?
And creation.
That should be part of, and creation. That should be part of our mission as well.
Yeah. What does it mean to be reverent towards God and towards creation?
To take it seriously, I think. To not treat values and God and ideas trivially, but to revere them.
Yes.
And again, we live in an age where so much that merits reverence has been tossed aside.
Swept away. Yes.
And we can talk about patriotism. We can talk about a number of things. I think we need to cultivate a greater sense of reverence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we both look upon God as the ultimate other, and that in itself elicits a certain reverence and awe, in the positive sense of that word, awe.
And I also see God as that totality of all the good things that we ought to strive for. So if I seek to become God-like, it's not to have power over others, but it is to better the world in which I live.
We would say to emulate the love of God, put that love into practice. I'm hoping that our discussion today will spur you on, the audience here, to look at these same questions. What is your mission in life?
Right.
Thank you very much. Great being with you.